my name is Madeline and I'm an aspiring LPC and RPT in the state of Texas. And today I'm going to be doing a video about 5 tips that I have for passing your CPEC and your NCE. I studied for both of them this whole year and I passed both of them. So I wanted to share some tips and tricks that I used. So stay tuned. So here are my 2 exam results. So on the CPEC, I got 105 out of 136, and on the NCE, I got 129 out of 160 correct. So let's break down what the heck are even these tests. So I did not know that I was going to have to be taking these tests originally when I came in the master's program. I was very overwhelmed. I have dyslexia, so any kind of big state test really freaked me out. So I was very scared when I started it. But I broke it down into way more manageable parts and it really helped me and I felt super prepared and I'm very proud of my score. So here's the difference between the 2 exams. I go to CMHC State University and a part of my requirements to graduate with a clinical and mental health counseling degree is that I pass a comprehensive exam. This is pretty standard with most master's programs. They either want you to do like a capstone, comprehensive exam, XYZ. Mine required me to pass the comprehensive exam. The comprehensive exam that Sam Houston State University has their students take is called the CPCE, which is Counselor Preparation Comprehensive Exam. Sorry, brain fart. But this is something I have to pass, and when I take the test, it was scheduled through a secure portal. Pearson's is the one that did it. I took it at the testing exam. I got my raw score back, but I did not know if I passed or not until my school, the way they do it is they let all the month, all the students that took it in the entire U.S., they see what the average score was, and then they do 1 standard deviation less than the national exam average. And so that's how I figured out that I passed my test. So 105 was above what my school expected from me, so I passed this. Lots of clinical mental health counseling programs use the CPC. Now the NCE, I did not have to take in school, but I took it early because I really wanted to jump start on getting my license. You need the NCE, which is the National Counselor Exam, to be able to become an LPC associate in the state of Texas. So all the different states have different requirements. That's the exam that my state requires. And so these are both 2 exams that are really similar. The CPCE is supposed to prepare you for the NCE. And so really similar things, similar ways to study. And so that's why I studied for both of them at the same time, because I thought I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So now that I passed the NCE, I can now, when I graduate, I will have another thing added for me to apply for my license. The NCE is one of those things required. 2 different tests, 2 different meanings, but similar content. So now I'm going to get into my study tips. First tip is to create a schedule for yourself and choose what kind of time of year you want to be taking these tests. I found this so helpful. So around last August, I knew that I had to have the CPCE on my radar. I had to take it in my program a certain time before I can move on in the program. Different programs had different requirements, but that's what mine had. And so I knew that I wanted to take it March of this year just to kind of set myself up. I also looked at the academic classes that I was going to be taking during that time, and I knew they were going to be a little bit lighter on the coursework. So I thought that would be a great time to dive into studying for the CPEC. And so I last August sat down in a Google sheet and I put what I was going to be doing weekly, monthly, and kind of scheduling it out. So what I did was I did a study at least like 1 question a day through Pocket Prep, which I'll get into. That was something I could do every single day to kind of study and help myself better myself. Another thing, which I'll get into, is also an audiobook. So I did 1 little step a day. That really helped me. I did it during the week, so Monday through Friday, and I let myself have the weekends to relax and chill. So I did that and gave myself enough time, and I also started enough months in advance where I didn't feel like I have to cram. So I started studying in August and fully like boots on the ground in September, and then I took the test in March. I took a very long time. It's definitely up to you. Like I said, I'm dyslexic, so I know that I need a little bit more time to process and understand the information. And this was not new information. My courses had taught me it. I'd taken all the prerequisites, but I knew that I needed to develop my learning a little bit further for the test and also learn the format of the test. So I highly recommend creating a schedule. So I did one kind of tangible thing, and then once a month I did take a practice test as well, and that really helped my confidence. I saw those scores go up and I felt more comfortable and familiar with the format of the test, which fully as a dyslexic person helped so much because I knew what to expect. I knew what words to look for or how they were worded. And like, for instance, like sometimes the not is like capitalized big, but I was noticing sometimes it wasn't. And so like I really focused on making sure I was reading every word, and I practiced strategizing the test of that. So really, step number one, I really recommend creating a schedule for yourself so you don't feel overwhelmed. The last thing that you want to be stressed about during this time, and this crazy time already, is how do I get this done? And so especially I also work, I'm a full-time student, like finding it and creating a schedule helped me feel more safe and like calm and trusting that I was going to be able to get the information in that I needed. So that is tip number one. Tip number two, which I was getting into on tip number one, is study the way that your brain works. So I personally use Rosenthal's Encyclopedia of Counseling audiobook. It's purple. I know a lot of people recommend it. They have an audiobook version. They also have a book version. Like I said, I'm dyslexic, so reading is not the best format for me to be able to get information in the correct way. And so I did audiobooks, and I would turn it on every morning when I was getting ready for the day or when I was commuting to work, because I have to commute, and it honestly helped so much. I listened to it once a day. Like I said, not on the weekends. I listened to it Monday through Friday. There's a lot of chapters and parts. It's a long audiobook. I think it's like 20 hours. But if you break it up into little chunks and schedule it out, it's honestly not bad. But make sure, my biggest advice, if you are going to do the audiobook, be intentional. Don't turn it on. Like, you need to actually listen to the things that are being said. But I highly recommend the audiobook for any commuters or people with busy lives. Or if you ingest the information better reading, by all means, go ahead and do that, because I've seen people do both and be successful both ways. So, and I'm not sponsored by any of the things I'm mentioning in this video. I just really found them helpful tips. So I definitely recommend checking out the audiobook and really working with your brain and figuring out what works best for you. Mine was audiobooks. I'm practicing like the way the test works. And so that's what really helped for me. So I recommend just kind of checking in with yourself, seeing what works best, and doing what's best for you in your study plan. Tip number three is, this is how I actually studied and practiced taking those tests. I use Pocket Prep, and I also use ChatGPT. I found both of them extremely helpful because it really just was repetition of learning how these questions are and learning more about things like areas that I didn't study. So I had more of the auditory, and then like I felt like I was like visually and like actually kinesthetically like doing it and thinking about these processes and things like that, and that was really helpful for me. So I liked having both of those. So Pocket Prep, it does cost money, but honestly, like I feel like I couldn't have passed it without it. So I really highly recommend using it. And maybe if you want to time it up with whenever your test is, you can always cancel the membership. So I use that, and they have a question a day. So I did a question a day, and then always on my walk or like while I was in leisure time, I would take about a 10 question quiz when I could, especially the few weeks leading up. I would always take like a question a day. Also on the app, there's like for the NCE, there's like Level Up in the CPCE. You can just take missed question quizzes or things like that. And so I highly recommend focusing on some of those things you're missing, the concepts you're not understanding, because the things you know, and a lot of the things are repetitive. And so pouring into yourself like and like kind of checking in to see what concepts are harder for you is really the most important part of it. ChatGPT, I also would type in exactly what I wanted. I want CPCE or NCE questions, and I would do that, and it was really helpful. The reason I haven't differentiated too much about the different tests is because I honestly studied the same way that I did it. So in March, I knew I wanted to take the CPC, and then in May, I took the NCE at the end of it because I had a little bit of a summer break in between my semesters. So I kind of did them back to back because I still continued on the Pocket Prep, and I listened to the audiobook one more time, and I really poured into it, and I did the exact same thing, and I was able to pass both tests. There is differences between between the two tests, but I think the foundation is, if you have the knowledge, you'll understand, and you can do the learning curve of knowing that the questions are worded just a little bit differently. So that's definitely my recommendation, is do what works for you and continue it, and push along and study similar for the two tests, because I do think it's helpful. I'm always long-winded, so I have to cut the video here, but come back for part 2 where I dive into the last 2 tips that I have about passing the NCE and CPCE, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!